Hi, I'm John McAuliffe, Chief Marketing Officer of VFM Leonardo, and welcome to the VTV channel. I'm pleased to tell you we have Phillip Wolfe, President and CEO of PhoCusWright, with us today. Phillip is a well-known and well-regarded expert on trends and practices in travel e-business. He founded PhoCusWright in 1994, which is now the premier source for travel, tourism, and hospitality intelligence. Phillip is a highly sought-after speaker around the world and is frequently quoted in consumer and trade media. He is a former adjunct professor at NYU's Graduate Center for Hospitality and Tourism and is currently a distinguished lecturer at the Cornell University School of Hotel Administration. Phillip has served as board director for companies on 3 continents, currently for global media property T-News, Talking Travel Tech, and India's Make My Trip. Prior to PhoCusWright, Phillip was CEO of a venture-funded software developer and travel booking engine pioneer. Over the course of 5 episodes, Phillip and I are going to discuss the topic Chaos Calls, Navigating the New. In this series of episodes, we will examine the forces that are transforming travel, tourism, and hospitality that all travel companies must confront. Our discussion is based on the theme of PhoCusWright's conference and will focus on how hoteliers can successfully navigate the new. Phillip, thank you for joining us and welcome to VTV today.
Pleasure to be here, John.
Our episode today, Chaos Calls, Navigating the New, is on strains on search. Certainly a lot is happening in the search environment, and in a bid to protect their brands and realize some revenue online, many publishers are gating their content so that Google cannot see everything amidst the chaos. Gated content, plus the fact that normal search engine optimization tactics do not work well for video, presents new challenges for hoteliers looking to attract quality eyeballs. In your opinion, Phillip, how has search changed and what does it mean for hoteliers' SEO strategies?
The technological chaos we described in an earlier episode is driving a fundamental change in search. As we explained, the golden age of the web is over, and search, as we know it, was built around the ubiquitous World Wide Web. Get your website up, get expert at SEO, and all the crawlers and robots, etc., will follow your lead. But as we know now, we have multiple devices and platforms, all the smartphones, and within each smartphone you have Android, iPhone, BlackBerry, Nokia, you have the tablet wars coming forth, you have Facebook strategy and YouTube strategy. So the disparate devices and platforms we've described is a outcropping of the chaos, and search hasn't been updated, even reinvented, for a disparate device and channel marketplace. So people are still accustomed to doing things, but forgetting that Google and other search engines don't quote-unquote see everything they're doing. And there's an additional irony to this. Surveys show that citizens around the world tell us that they are more informed than they've ever been, that they know more about what's going on in the world, in the marketplace, whatever, than they used to. At the same time, they are reading less newspapers, reading less magazines, and watching less network television. Information up, classic media access down. This is forcing those media outlets to build paywalls where visitors have to have a username and password or pay to get to gated content. This further strains search because on top of everything else, when there's a paywall, search sites can't see behind them. So it goes part and parcel with this chaos. I'll give you an interesting example. You know the type, client calls the other day. They're so proud of some recent SEO success they had with Google. They get me on the phone and they say, hey, type such and such, which I reluctantly did. And sure enough, I saw that their site link was rated high. But like many websites today, there's a ton of video on that site, And so I typed the same search phrase the client recited to me into YouTube instead of Google. And then it didn't appear at all. So I asked the guy on the phone, well, why don't you appear on YouTube? After all, it's only the second most visited search site in North America right now. And there was teetotal silence at the other end of the line. And it just underscores what we mean by strains on search. In many cases, it's back to the drawing board. You need a search optimization strategy for each channel and for each platform in many cases.
So on that point, and as you have eloquently said, traditionally people were conducting SEO for Google, and that it really was more Google optimization than search engine optimization. And the proliferation of different channels, the consumer or the travel shopper in this particular case is going to other channels to search for things. So as a hotelier, and again I'll use the example of if I were in charge of the e-business activities for a management company with a number of hotels, what counsel and what advice would you provide to me or give to me to be able to expand my search engine optimization tactics to where consumers are using searches these days?
So search engine optimization round 2 needs to be coordinated with the disparate device and channel strategy. So as your marketing organization is rolling out Facebook and YouTube and iPhone and BlackBerry and all the new tablets, etc., you need to have a search strategy uniquely attributed to that strategy you're rolling out. That's the trick. They go parse and parcel. It's an interesting thing. I just canceled my print subscription to the Wall Street Journal after 30 years because the iPad app is so slick and it's really great. But in its early phases, even though the app is really good, there's no search. So when I need to go search for something, I have to go to the web. Right. Now that's not even SEO. That's why we say strains on search, not just SEO. So just make sure, in summary, that your marketing organization has a search-related strategy, both as a tool for your visitors, customers, and for search engines to find you and see you, that's going with each disparate device and channel strategy you're rolling out.
It's really taking the view of it from what we do as an organization outwards and looking from the consumer inwards and saying, and answering the question, how will they find us on all of the channels and devices that they choose to use out there. You talked a little bit about video in your example as well. What advice would you have for our hotel audience on how to optimize the findability, if you will, of their video on the web?
Yeah, there's so many things to do, but there's a reason Google bought YouTube. So I think the best part of that answer is spend as much time optimizing to YouTube as you've been doing on Google. More and more people are using YouTube as a search site. And some critics will look at it right now and say that's ridiculous and there's so much junk there and I have a long memory. And that reminds me of the criticisms of search engines once upon a time. Mark my words, the sophistication of YouTube and its emerging competitors will be as stiff as in the Google world right now. Look how much Microsoft spent on the Bing launch. And, we could argue what the return on that is. Eventually, there will be image-based searching. I was at a baseball game last night, and we were at the Yankee game, and we're sitting next to Brian Cashman's box, the general manager. And you could tell there was somebody sitting there that was famous, but nobody could place their name. And the time is not far away where you'll just take your smartphone, take a picture of a person or the Eiffel Tower or whatever, and then click search. And the power of that search will be image-based, not text-based. So that's another thing coming down the pike.
Certainly powerful stuff. Phillip, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us today. We appreciate having you here on VTV.
You're welcome. It is chaotic out there.
To all the viewers out there, be sure to post your comments on this episode of VTV and subscribe to our feed to receive more valuable insights from industry experts. If you'd like to suggest topics that you would like us to cover in future episodes, feel free to email us at vtv@vfmleonardo.com with your suggestions.